Hi, welcome to the Heatmap analytics video. The Heatmap is a visualization analysis tool that applies hues of color from gray to bright red to signify the quantity of student contributions during selected observations. To use this analysis tool, you must first select the classroom you would like to analyze. I will choose the example classroom. Now, you must select the way in which you want to view the classroom participation. You can choose Whole Classroom, where the heat map will display student participation across the entire classroom as a whole. This function is especially useful if when you were setting up your classroom, you organize the student names according to a classroom seating chart. The resulting heat map preserves the orientation so it can help answer questions about whether certain factors about the classroom arrangement play a role in classroom participation. Alternatively, you can select demographic groups. I will go ahead and select that option. This view allows you to look at classroom participation broken down by chosen social markers. From here, you will need to choose the demographic that you want to observe. So, for example, in this classroom, the demographics included were gender, SES or socioeconomic status, race, language proficiency, and popularity. I will choose gender. The next step, which I have already selected here, is to choose the observation that you would like analytics about. You can choose one or more observations. Depending on the dates of the observations, you may need to drag the timeline graph to view earlier or later observations than the ones already displayed. Notice that only the whole class observations are highlighted. If you want to specifically look at the analytics for the small group observations, then you should go back to the analytics page and select the group work option. More information on that will be given in the group work analytics video. I will select all three observations. The resulting heat maps will show student participation aggregated across all three observations. Notice that the data is grouped by gender. If you were to have chosen a different demographic, the heat maps will then be grouped by that social marker. There are a couple of things that you can identify from the data visualization. For instance, we can see from the brightness of the reds that a number of boys contributed more often than students who identified as girl or non-binary. We can also see that all but 3 boys contributed, all but 2 girls contributed, and all non-binary students contributed to the classroom discussion. If you would like to get additional information about a particular student, you can go ahead and click on their name, and Equip will give you a detailed report about that student. So suppose I am interested in learning about the student with the most participation. From the heat map, I can see that Rick is that student. I can click on his name, and Equip displays relevant information about him. We can see that Rick is a boy that is of higher socioeconomic status. His race is white. He is English dominant and very popular. I can also learn about the nature of his participation by looking at the student information graphs. For instance, if I select Student Talk type for discourse dimension, I can see how his contributions compared to the median student. So for every type of student talk, Rick contributed more than the median student. Equip allows you to further parse the data by applying additional filters to the heat maps. So for instance, if I go to the SES section and choose lower, the students with the higher SES will be grayed out, and I can observe participation of students identified as lower SES disaggregated by gender. You can add more filters if you like. Let's say I select language proficiency. So if I choose emergent multilingual, all the lower SES students who are English dominant will be grayed out. Now I will be able to see how students who were identified as lower SES and multilingual participated relative to their peers. Adding additional filters can help the user understand the impact that intersectionality and identity may play out in classroom participation. In this class, we can see that these students tended to contribute less, as evidenced by their pale red and gray colors.